I hate spending money on video games, not because I'm broke, but because when presented with the option to buy a $60 game or $60 worth of food,
I'ma eat it.
As the ultimate min-maxer, I'm gonna make sure I pay the least amount for the most amount of value possible. This very concept is why most of the games I've purchased on Steam are under $20. But you know, finding good games for cheap can sometimes be very hard. But my experience as a mobile gamer has really given me this ability to just discern trash from a genuinely good game. Whether it be during Steam sales or browsing the $10 and unders tab on Steam, I'm always looking for cheap games to sink countless hours into. Due to the games I played growing up, I tend to have a major bias towards 2D or pixelated games, which luckily for me, end up being on the cheaper side of the spectrum. Sometimes I find a game so good and so cheap that I've gone beyond penny pinching. I think I might be... Hey guys, EnderHerve here, bringing you guys another episode of Pixel Pinching. Today we're going to be talking about Fhtagn, Fhatgn. I don't really know how to pronounce this word, so for the sake of not having a million outtakes, I'm just going to call it F Simulator. F Simulator is a roguelike deck building game that you can pick up for $8 or $3.59 when it's on sale. In F Simulator, you spin a roulette wheel of monsters, humans, environments, spells, and items to build up enough spirit to unleash some type of, great eldritch horror onto the world. Monsters and humans are cards which trigger their effects as they come up on the wheel. Monsters can have a wide array of different effects depending on the archetype, while humans usually serve as sacrifices for the monsters or buffs for other humans. Environments are cards whose effects persist even after the wheel has passed them. Spells are cards that cause spirit to play and trigger powerful effects, and items equip themselves to random cards on the field depending on the effect. There are 7 rounds in total, with each round requiring more and more spirit to move on to the next. During a round, you can spin the wheel 7 times to obtain the amount of spirit required to move on, and if you don't, you lose the game. When you spin the wheel, cards from your deck are placed randomly onto the roulette, and as it spins, your cards will trigger their effects which help you build up spirit. After each spin of the roulette, you are able to add more cards into your deck to make it stronger. During a round, there is a chance for random events, such as an investigator being added to your deck to mess things up, or opportunities to gain items or relics to make your deck stronger. After moving on to the next round, you get to choose a relic to add to the deck that gives you a general buff or a buff to a specific archetype. These archetypes being Offering, Evolve, Cthulhu, Burning, Freezing, or Discard. With these relics equipped, your overall game plan will become more solid, and it will be easier to reach that spirit goal by the end of the round. Now you may be thinking that this game cannot be consistent since your cards are randomly being placed onto the wheel and just spinning. But this game actually offers a lot of ways for you to get a consistent game plan going. On top of relics and certain card effects, you have the option to lock certain slots on the wheel so that nothing can spawn there, as well as place certain cards on the wheel so they always spawn where you want them to spawn during your round. You can also banish cards from your deck by using Spirit, and store cards away in this other inventory that you don't want to use right now. Also, after every 2 rounds, you get the choice to completely remove an archetype from the card pool by binding it, or pick a card from an archetype by summoning it, which is also a big consistency boost. All those elements combined make it so that the game doesn't feel too unfair and that you have an actual solid chance of winning each time, as long as you know what you're doing, of course. As you beat the game, you unlock harder difficulty levels, similar to Slay the Spire Ascension levels or those Darkness levels I talked about in 20 Minutes Till Dawn. These difficulty levels make each game a little bit harder to win. There are also 2 other game modes, Law and Chaos. In Law mode, you have the ability to place cards anywhere you want, but you only get 6 slots on the wheel compared to the usual 12 you get in Neutral mode. In Chaos mode, you can't place any cards on the wheel, and there's only 7 slots, but the wheel spins twice every turn. The difficulty modifiers in the different modes added some unique challenges to the game and make you have to think differently about how you want to build your deck. To be honest, I don't even know how I stumbled across this game. Like, I was deep in the under $5 tab and it just so happened to be on sale at the time I was scrolling. So like when I looked at the store page and I saw this roulette wheel, and I enjoy a little bit of gambling in video games, not in real life, okay? Never that. I knew I just had to cop the game on the spot. Plus, I thought that the simple black and white pixel art designs were pretty cool, so I just got hooked immediately. Like, they don't call me the pixel pincher for nothing, you know? As I started playing this game more and more, I got really into it because I felt like it put a really nice spin on the deck building genre, which, even though I haven't talked about many yet, the deck building genre is one of my favorite, if not my favorite genre of games. The wheel added a whole new layer to the game, and figuring out how to make a consistent deck even though the placement is somewhat random is a fun challenge. The cards are tagged with the type of card and the archetype they belong to, so it's not too hard to build synergies. However, finding the intersection between the archetypes is more challenging, but fun. Most archetypes in this game are viable, some of course being way stronger than the others, but with the right combination of relics and of course the most important factor of most card games, luck, you can pull off some pretty wacky things in the game. From previous pixel pinching videos, y'all know I love me a game where I can use my massive brain to come up with several game-breaking combos. Like, this is not even a joke, by the way, like this is not even just for the video. One of these combos came to me in a dream. So I woke up the next day, immediately got on the game, and made it come to fruition. And when I got all the combo pieces together, it was way crazier than I even dreamt it to be. So like, yeah, safe to say, I was having a good time playing this game. Some builds require less setup than most, which are probably like the more broken builds because most of the builds I was trying to do, it really would only pop off by like the late game. So like, you know, getting there was the issue, but once you got there, it's like easy. But some builds, like a certain build, you know, you just get like 2 cards and it's done, basically. Like, it plays itself. But even then, once you get to the higher difficulty levels, it still takes more to win, even if you're playing one of those broken builds. Speaking of higher difficulty levels though, in this game, those difficulty levels do get pretty hard. Like at a certain level, the game will just start adding investigators to your deck, which can spawn in and destroy any adjacent monster, environment, spell, or item. Now, whatever they destroy is completely random and it's just up to the type of investigator that they are. And despite being added to your deck, you can't place an investigator onto the wheel, so they will always be randomly placed. This makes it a little bit more challenging and makes you have to build your deck a certain way so that you can catch the investigator lacking essentially and kill him off before he just kills something very important and just loses you the game on the spot. Even the law and chaos modes are pretty good at requiring you to think more than just using the most broken archetype. Which is weird because you would think in a mode where you can just place whatever you want on the wheel, you could just place the most broken combination and just win on the spot. But it actually takes a little bit more than that to win since you have half of the available slots than you would usually have in neutral mode. And don't even get me started on chaos mode. The random placement is hard to get used to. I just really love the simplistic nature of this game. There are no crazy effects on the screen and the icons themselves are just small pixelated depictions of eldritch horrors. However, it still gives off that vibe of being like a cultist trying to summon this elder god. Not to mention this hypnotic background track that plays for the whole game. Yes, this track that you've been hearing the whole time is the only track in the whole game. Like there's a menu song, and then this is the song when you play the game, and that's literally it. Even the gameplay itself is pretty simple, as most of the thinking comes from how to build a deck, and then from that point on, the game just plays itself. Once you understand how to build a deck and maximize your consistency, there really isn't much else to it. This might be a problem for some, but for me, $3.59 for 20 hours of gameplay is a solid deal. Of course, I went ahead and completed all the achievements as well, as I enjoyed the gameplay loop, and the achievements required you to explore all the different archetypes in the game. I'm sure there are still some combos that I haven't found yet, but the ones I did find were satisfying enough to me. So yeah, Fhtagn Simulator is a simple but fun roguelike deck building roulette game where you're trying to collect enough spirits to unseal an elder god. While there isn't much going on in the game visually or gameplay wise, understanding the different archetypes and using that knowledge to beat the higher difficulties and different modes of the game provide a fun gaming experience. Watching the wheel spin alone gave me some type of dopamine rush, and you know, I'm not a gambler, and I swear I don't have a problem, but like if this game becomes a gateway to a gambling addiction, my apologies. Anyways, as always, like, comment, subscribe if you want, and I'll catch you on the flip.